Hey there guys, Fabian Ratzak my name. Today I want to show you my rig pedalboard and how it's connected, how it's wired up, how everything works nice when you combine such a thing as Tonex. In this case I'm using an Hotone Ampero Stage 1 for the effects and for the switching and all the MIDI devices and all these crazy fancy stuff. And it might help you or just enjoyment to watch and to listen to some tones. Let's start right away with a single chain. All right, so first things first, guitar, the guitar goes into the small stone phaser. After that, the small stone phaser goes into the Steve Lukather Overdrive, the SLOD Deluxe Rodenberg Steve Lukather. Very nice overdrive pedal. It features 3 sounds. We will get into that later. From there on, this is our last pedal in front. We go into the input of the Hotone Ampero Stage 2. That's really important. The next step, how we gonna connect the Tonex, because I'm using the Tonex for the amps, as you might know. I'm not using the modeling stuff. I'm also not using the tone catch stuff. Not in this video. I'm using it, but not here, because with this pedalboard and rig, I want to create everything I need for a gig or for a band setup, so I can use all the tones I need and just not specific ones, just so everything will work nice. All right, so from the Tonex, that's really important. The input from the send of the Hotone goes into the input. The return of the Hotone goes into the output. That's so we have a connection. Next is the MIDI in from the Tonex goes to the MIDI out through in the Ampero. That's also important. So that's a single chain. I'm going to explain you more in depth on the desktop app, so it's a lot easier to follow along. The next thing here, what you see, there's an output. See, there's a balanced and an unbalanced output. So the balanced output are these two stereo outputs that go into the Lele P-split that sums it to a dual mono. So here's the output of the mono that goes into my IR loader. And if we're going to send this to a front of house, or in this case to the interface, we need some IRs or an IR. I could use an IR loader here from the Hotone Ampero Stage 2, but actually it's a little bit more complicated because I'm using a setup where I can also use with the unbalanced out to a Class D power amp and then feeding a real cabinet, because I really enjoy of the air in the room. So that's why I'm using a regular cabinet also. But for recording and for the front of house and live, it's always nice to have a clean, nice IR that feeds the PA system. So in this case, I'm using a York Audio 56 Celestion 2x12 IR, which I really enjoy. I tried also the 4x12, but the 2x12 really had that nice focus in the mid-range. It's warm, it's organic, and it really cuts through the mix very nice. So that is a matter of taste, I guess. Everyone has their favorite IRs. There are so many great on the market. So that is the case here. From this, the output goes then directly into the interface or in the front of house, if you will. All right, so I think that's everything connected nicely. It's important. I also have a volume pedal from Hotone. This is the Hotone Press, so I'm using it just for volume in this case, which I find really handy. The other thing is you need, of course, a power supply that speaks for itself, I think. All right, let's go to the routings. So we're gonna start here. I created basically 5 scenes. So what did I do? So at first I put a gate on, because if I'm not having a gate, it can be complicated, sometimes too much hiss and noise, and we don't want that. We want a clean signal, at least as clean as it can get. So this is my first, this is the clean. Then we have the option of an FX loop because we need it actually because we want to use the Tonex. I think the great thing here is you have many options for selecting what you want. I choose stereo, I don't know why, it's okay to use stereo here. You can also use mono, it's the same principle. For Tonex, I think it's great to keep the send level at 0 dB. The return level is a bit quiet on the Tonex. I don't know why. I think I guess it's an instrument output. I don't know. I had to increase the return level to around 10 dB, so it really wasn't too quiet. That's important. Of course, the mix needs to be 100% because I'm just using the amps from the Tonex. In this case, also what is important for this setup, I'm using just one amp, but I have some options, but mostly I'm using a Super Bass 76 from Amalgam Audio, direct capture. Sounds phenomenal if you like Marshalls, and some other options there as well, but I will show you later, step by step. So this is the first thing. Then we have some pedals here, but we go through that when playing a little bit, so it doesn't get too boring. The other thing which is also really important is the MIDI stuff. With Hotone you have the possibility to go here on this rider, and then you have patch MIDI. That's really important when connecting to Tonex. You need to make sure that the Tonex is sending and reaching MIDI input signals at the same channel. So in this case it's the channel 1. The command has to be CC0. The data has also to be the data at 0. So the next thing, foot switch, you can use up to 3 commands per switch. That's really amazing. I just need 1, and what I need is I have my channel at 1 command. I need the PC commands because the Tonex models have program change, and on my, you can see it when you open up Tonex, there is these MIDI batches there. It says maybe 72, and that's my Super Bass. That's the preset where it's at. You're going to go here, you save it, and then you're there. Actually really easy once you know how to do it. That's like, yeah, it's always the same. So the next thing, the expression pedal settings, you can use many other stuff here. So I have my volume here, and I just put it here. So I activated it, put the minimum at 0, the maximum at 100, put to expression mode, close it, and there you go. Okay, enough of that boring talking. Let's hear some tones. The first patch is basically the Super Bass. Functions as a clean. It's not super clean, but I like it with a little bit of hair. So when you hit it hard, it actually, there's some drive going on. Also there's some spring reverb. In this case, this is the spring reverb 4, and this is coming from the Tonex, because as you might know, you can use also effects from Tonex, and why not combining it? It's super because you just have, for the scenes, you have only 5. You can go up to 7, but that doesn't fit in my rig, so I had to do some compromises, and that's why I used the Tonex reverb, the spring reverb 4, which sounds amazing, by the way. And yeah, some other options I have if I'm clicking on the pedal. As you see, this is on the A, and I programmed it. On B, I have a tremolo. On the C, I have some rotary. And not enough, I can also use a booster. So in this case, I can use my Steve Lukather drive. So a lot of fun, versatile as it gets. And if I'm going back, it's my normal clean tone. So this is my basic setup for the first scene. So this is the clean. Let's go to the next one, which is the drive, which is basically the same Marshall, just a little bit pushed with the gain. AC/DC kind of is crunch, and if that's not enough for me, I have some other options. I can switch on the Rodenberg, the booster side. I can use the distortion side. Or the overdrive side. Or one thing I like to do, because I have A, B and C, I can say, no, not in the mood of the super bass. In the middle I put a JCM 800. And this also sounds different with the pedals. Okay, and if that's even not enough, I have Lens Hot Chili, it's called. It's a fantastic amp builder in Germany, and he also sells some captures, and I bought it, and it really sounds killer, like a tuned 800, and it sounds like this. I can even boost it up. You get the idea. So basically I have my setup really versatile, so I don't need to switch here presets. I just need to check out the amp, and that's amazing, very versatile setup. So let's check out the next one. The next scene is a slapback. I'm a fan of slapbacks, so this is nothing special, just the same idea that we have in the drive section, 3 different amps if you like, and some slapback. Boosting, you can boost it if you like, that's really fun. I don't go through all the 3 amps now because you get the idea, just the basic setup. And what I can also do is, what I forgot in the clean setting, I of course have the small stone phaser. Classic. I could use it also from the Ampero Stage 2, but I like analog pedals also, so why not? So the next one is a chorus, the same clean tone, just some chorus and some delay. Let me check out what delay I'm using here. I think I use the Ambience 2, which is really sounding nice. So let's check this one out. Very 80s kind of style. I enjoy that. It sounds nice. Sounds great. One other thing before we go into the lead section, I also use with my band some kind of synthesizer stuff. Not really synthesizer, but some shimmery stuff or some big hall stuff. I programmed it so, as you see, everything we already covered instead, just not the lead setting. But for clean, I needed something. I will first let you hear it. So not too many reverb going on. Basically, actually really a lot. And what I wanted to have, I always wanted to have that patch. So with the Hotone Ampero 2 you can, that's really amazing. For the switches 6 or 7, where you normally change the bank, go up and down, I decided to put on the 6, I put the reverb I did here. Let me see what reverb that is actually. Engage it so I know what it is. Okay, it's the silver linings, and these are the settings. Also created a trail, which I really enjoy putting it on. So there it's off, there it's on. It's always functioning no matter if I'm using the distortion. Still on. Way too much, but for some kind of stuff it works. So that's that. And for the other one, for the number 7, I decided to use some delay, also the ambience. Just if I want a different cup of tea for delay, maybe I'm in the clean setting and I want some delay. There it is. So a lot of fun to play around with. So I programmed it this way and it works fantastically. Now let's go to the lead tones. I also have 3 options. One is more vintage orientated with some kind of DD3 Bonamassa Eric Johnson setting just at noon. That's really not too much gain, but as in the previous stuff, I can use maybe an overdrive in front. So that sounds nice, but I can also go a little bit more modern. I can use maybe the JCM 800. Or even more. I'm using, this is also the hot chili, okay. options. I can use all this stuff, and it's amazing. Everything I basically need for a gig or for a rehearsal or set, that is nice. I'm a big fan of not using more than one IR, for example. That's what I can tell from my experience. Not too many amps. As you see, these are all options and they are very similar. I would not, for example, use a Vox AC30, then in the next a Mesa Boogie 2C Plus, and then a JCM 800 and so on, because the mix is really confusing then. So that is a rule of thumb I like to do when creating those kind of rigs. Sometimes it's fun because, as you can see, there are many other things going on here just to find some new sounds, some inspirations. But basically it's important to have an idea to use, okay, what do I really need for my kind of music? Not just I need a delay. For what? For what do you need this delay? Do you need a quarter note? Do you need a dotted 8 note? Try to find your own stuff, or try to look what other people use and then maybe try to incorporate it in your rig. For the effects, it's always, I mean, it's a taste thing. Some things work. Here it might sound way too much delay. In the mix it gets a little bit lost, so there isn't that much. That's also a thing. I always recommend to use a volume boost, so you have control over your overall signal. And yeah, for the effects in the chain, guys, I think it's really a matter of taste. Some things like reverb effects and delay, if you use distortion, it's nice to have them in the back. Shorter delays might work. Van Halen did this also. So basically, the good thing is it's you can just take it and drop it here, and then you can listen how it sounds. So this is my personal pedalboard setup, which I really quite enjoy. If you have any questions about the signals or the routing, I hope that I covered everything here. And this is the stuff I need for my daily work, and all the other stuff is just more experimenting and having fun. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this. It was a lot of fun, actually. I'm gonna play you out and see you maybe next time. Bye bye.